You are now listening to the Mill Social Talks podcast, hosted by Leroy Villamil, Chicago's best and finest when it comes to real estate. Find your forever home with Mills Realty.
Welcome guys back. This is Leroy Villamil, Mills Realty, managing broker. And you're here listening to the Mills Social Talk podcast. Today we have again with us Mr. Trevor John-Charles. He was with us earlier, and you guys could always go back and listen to the first episode. We talked a little bit about trading. So Trevor, again, welcome back again. And I want to introduce yourself. I mean, you were here before, and we had a great time. So we got to bring him back because there's a lot more information for Trevor to tell us about. We're talking about Bitcoins. We're talking about a lot of different financial stuff that affects our lives today. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Trevor.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Leroy, for the introduction. My name is Trevor John-Charles. I am the co-founder of Level Up Consulting LLC, founded in 2019 right here in Chicago.
Right. I'm in Chicago.
Yeah.
Great people.
Good people in Chicago.
Good people in Chicago.
Yeah.
All right, so last time when we, on the last episode, we were getting into banks and how banks make money. Now, we know banks. I mean, you know, for some of you who knows the financial world, banks is always the middle person. You know, banks makes money. We give our money to the bank, and the bank turn around and invest the money. So we'll try to. Trevor will kind of give us a more education of how we can maybe go directly to these investors, or whether we use Bitcoins, or he'll let us know how banks make money, how we can make money. So let's go back to how banks make money and how we can gain our independence from the bank. Let's talk about it.
Okay. Well, so just to be clear, right? So, speaking about how one of the ways the banks make money, specifically relating to the foreign exchange market.
Yeah. Okay.
Because as you know, as a realtor, right, like one of the ways they make money is through loans.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's just one of the ways that they acquire income. But another way is through the foreign exchange market. And they do that by trading in the market.
All right, so before we go out, I mean, you know, I want to break this down. The foreign exchange market, what is that? Because, I mean, you hear that all the time. But what is it?
So the foreign exchange market really is just a global exchange of all the money on the planet.
Okay.
The foreign exchange market is the largest, most liquid financial market on the planet. We're talking about an industry that moves $6.6 trillion a day versus the New York Stock Exchange, which only moves $22 billion a day. So it's clearly the foreign exchange market is ahead in that regard. However, when we talk about the movement of money, I think just to make it simpler for your listeners, those who travel abroad may understand it in this term, right? So when you travel abroad and you jump on a plane, you go to another country, upon landing in that country, typically we have to exchange our currency for the currency of the country that we're visiting, so that we can participate in that country's economy.
Absolutely.
That, in its simplest of terms, is foreign exchange, right?
Okay.
However, it's more detailed when you look at how the banks are engaged in the movement of that money, and they do that on a day-to-day basis to the tune of billions of dollars. Here's the key component to it, though. They use our money to do that. So the money that they're using to trade in the market is our money, which is why we have all these stipulations and things of nature on our banking, so that they can ensure that we're not touching their investment money, which is our money. Our return on that, right, is typically what? Like a percentage off a percent, right?
1%,
so
yeah.
The thinking and what I present to my clients is, if there was a way you could learn a skill where you can take some of your money and learn a skill to trade it just like the banks do, guess what? You can get a higher return on your investment. The difference is, though, you have to learn the skill.
It's a skill. It's a whole other education.
Correct.
to learn how to trade money.
Yes.
Because the normal everyday individual, it's not like you can go to school. I mean, you can go to school and learn it, but it's not like it just happened.
Right.
It's a specific thing, product. I mean, and it seems so large, to be honest. It seems kind of, for me, I don't trade. It seems like this huge thing that you have to learn. I mean, is it?
It's a lot to learn. And it's
you said it so dry, like there's a lot to learn.
And because you know why? Because I don't want to give any of your listeners I don't want to give them the idea that they could just get in and break the bank. I think one of the things that we've seen over the last year plus, right, when we hear about like the Reddit user, the Reddit guys, and they overinflating things like AMC and stocks and things of that nature, where there's an education component even dealing with the stock market, right? So some of us who may download Robinhood or Stash, and I like Apple stock, and we'll throw a few bucks at it. There's an actual system to how money moves and how it moves in these markets, and you have people who will pay tens of thousands of dollars to learn that skill. If I'm not mistaken, I think Robert Kiyosaki, who is the author of the best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad, has the Rich Dad Company. They do a training class, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they can teach you how to trade, but I believe it's like $40,000-$50,000 for that course.
They know,
right?
Okay.
So that basically backs most people out of learning.
Right. Okay.
So I said that, and it may appear to be dry because I never want to give anyone the notion that it's an easy learn. It's very detailed. It's very nuanced. We're talking about a platform that gives you access to over 200 educators, and within that education, it doesn't matter whether you speak English, Spanish, French, Polish, Mandarin. They have educators literally around the globe that speak whatever language. So we want people to come in with the understanding that there's a skill set to learn. It's no different than everyone wants to know how to sell real estate until they realize they have to go to school and become licensed, and you have to go through a whole process. You can't just jump up tomorrow and say, okay, I'm going to go sell some real estate.
True. So this is a learning process. So
correct. So
back to the banks. I mean, the banks are using our money,
yes,
in order to trade on the foreign market. So they make money. They give us back a portion of that money. Is that what you say?
Well, I don't know if you want to call a fraction of a percent a portion, but yes.
But that's what the banks does to actually trade.
Correct.
Trade, and it's still, for me, I'm gonna be honest. I still don't get it as clear as how the banks are trading that dollar. I don't know. So for me to learn, I guess I gotta take classes too and understand what the bank is doing, because I understand there's a trading factor, whether it's you're trading pesos or you're trading rubles or whatever that is. But I guess me too. I mean, as we're doing this, I'm learning a little bit, but yet got to take the education just to know how they do it and how I can make it. Right? Because I still don't, and I'm sure the listeners, whoever's listening, I mean, if you're clear on it, I mean, send us an email, send us a text, go to our site. Just kind of, if you want to make a comment on this, because this is to me, this is intricate.
Very much so.
And so I don't want to pretend like, oh yeah, I know this stuff. I am learning.
Right.
So if someone has a comment, please let us know. I saw the banks do make money doing it. And it's just money the banks is trading on the foreign exchange?
In the foreign exchange. So right. So within the foreign exchange market, so from the so I can speak from the standpoint of the educational platform that we're involved in, and I think it will be clear to say that this is more than likely what the banks move as well, because you not only have access to foreign currencies, or more specifically currency pairs. Let me just elaborate briefly. So when you're trading within the foreign exchange market, you typically trade against pairs. a stronger currency to a weaker currency.
Okay.
So, for example, we know typically globally the U.S. dollar is the global standard.
The gold standard,
right?
Correct.
So typically you can find yourself trading the U.S. dollar against, say, the Japanese yen, or you can find yourself trading the U.S. dollar against the Canadian dollar.
Okay.
Okay. So and depending on the strength of that particular currency pair, you are either going into the market and you are basically trading it on the valuation going up in value, so that's a buy, or you're trading in the reverse. You're expecting the value of that currency pair to drop, so then you're going into the market on a sell. It is a lot more intricate. So my disclaimer to your listeners, I'm not an educator.
Okay.
I don't have a series, you name
Six
it,
or seven or whatever it is.
So I'm not a financial advisor. I'm merely just sharing information to your listeners. So I just want them to A, be clear, and B, do their homework. But it does get a lot more nuanced. And I think even for myself personally, it's taken the education to be able to even articulate this much. Because even prior to that, kind of like you, it didn't make much sense.
Well, yeah, and I'm trying as much as possible now to learn. I mean, since we've talked the last time, I've been kind of, just kind of trying to read a little bit more about it, understand a little more about it, even watch a little bit more of the financial news to see, what's coming on with it, because I realize the whole gamut of information that a lot of us don't know.
Yes.
And especially when it comes to money. We haven't. A lot of us have not been taught money. That's one of the things that's like that. We learn maths and English and geography. We haven't taught money,
right?
And that's why a lot of us don't have as much as we should have,
Correct.
Because we don't know how to grow that money fast like some of the other folks. But all right, so the fact that we actually went ahead and we talked a little. Now, how long have you been doing this? By the way?
So I've been doing this a little over a year.
Okay.
A little over a year.
And just for my
from the foreign exchange market perspective, correct.
And how have you seen yourself grown education-wise when it comes to money? Because that's an important thing. Because we're gonna get into the fact that, of course, you do now help other people learn this industry. So what has your growth been to say, well, yeah, I've learned X or I've learned Y?
It's been tremendous, and matter of fact, it actually ties into what you were just talking about, and I can tie that to the banks. So here's the thing: we're typically taught when we get our money to put it in the bank and save it.
Correct.
Right? If we pay attention to the fact that we get only a percentage off a percent return on the money that's in the bank, yet still inflation is roughly 2%. So
right now it's like 4.
Right, 4, right?
Right.
So what we end up seeing is the fact that we're actually losing money keeping it in the bank. The bank is really not. In the grander scheme of things, we think it's a safe place to keep our money, but we're actually losing money. And so what I really try to put the position I really try to get my potential clients or prospects to see is, you want to be on the other side of money. You always want to be in the black. You don't want to be in the red. Leaving your money in the bank is not making you any money. And if we look at wealth principles, one of the things that we see wealthy people always doing is they're moving their money somewhere to make their money
work for them.
Correct. Their money has to work for them. So to your question, I've learned a lot because I now know how to move my money 1 to 2% a day if and when I choose to.
Okay, explain it. You said 1 to 2% a day. What does that mean?
Meaning I know that I have, in my trading, I can trade and potentially earn a return of 1 to 2% at least through trading daily. Okay. As long as the market's open and I'm trading, I can do that.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
Again, It's not a guarantee.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that because I don't want the listeners to think, okay, this is all great and you make crazy money.
Correct. It's
not. By the way, it's not a rich way.
It's not a get rich quick scheme, but it is a get rich scheme.
I like this.
It's not a get rich quick scheme. It is a get rich scheme because if you're compounding your account over a period of time, it will grow. Albert Einstein said it best. He said compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world.
Correct. Yeah. All right.
So.
But I like this. It's a get rich scheme, but it's not get rich quick.
It's not get rich quick.
Because you could lose money.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I'm gonna tell you, I've talked to other people who have told me that they've lost money. But I'm gonna say, at the same time, they were not educated in the industry. And so, I had someone call me and told me I have two people call me and say they've lost a lot of money, and have they gotten education? No, they were doing it, and they thought they knew what they were doing, and the next thing you know, they've lost a huge amount of money. So I understand that the fact that you need to get the education in order to do this.
Correct.
I understand that, and I don't want any of the listeners out there. If you for those who are listening, get educated because that's so important. Like anything else, I mean, you go to school, you get a master's degree, whatever. You got to get educated in this business in order to learn and to progress. So, Trevor, you could always please leave us a comment. Let us know what you're thinking. Go to our website. Go to the Mill Social Talk Podcast and let us know what you're thinking. So, let's talk a little bit about. As we got a little more time about Bitcoin, let's talk a little bit about Bitcoins and tell me give me an overview and then we'll get into a little bit about Bitcoins.
I'll do my very best. So a lot of times when we talk about Bitcoin, we're talking about one currency that is a part of the cryptocurrency, or some people know it as the digital currency market. So Bitcoin is kind of like the granddaddy of them all, kind of similar to the foreign exchange market, where the U.S. dollar is kind of the standard currency. So what makes Bitcoin different than fiat currency is that it is decentralized.
Okay, explain fiat.
So fiat is paper money.
Paper money. Okay.
Paper money. Yes.
Yeah.
However, digital currency is decentralized. So unlike paper money, it's not regulated by the banks. It's not regulated by any centralized government. It is completely digital. And the advent of what we call digital currency came on the scene in 2009 with Bitcoin. And Bitcoin was created by some will say he's a mythical individual, because there has been there's no factual information that this guy actually exists. Satoshi Tomo. Sorry, I always picture his name. But when the advent of Bitcoin in January 2009, the value of Bitcoin was 5 cents. Okay. And over time, we watched the value of it grow to the point where when we got to 2017, the value of Bitcoin was right around $20,000 in value. Mm-hmm. March of this year, it surpassed 64,000. So
for one Bitcoin.
For one Bitcoin. So if you had invested $1,000 in Bitcoin back in January of 2005, it'll be worth $1.2 billion as of March 2021. And I say that to say, especially to your listeners, I think a lot of times that we overlook opportunities, and I think again because we're not educated in it.
We're not educated.
And so there's the fear of risk, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put my money into something and I have absolutely no idea what it's going to do. So what Level Up Consulting holds stand with our partnership with IAM Academy is to ensure that people know how to trade. So one of the things we do trade, in addition to foreign exchange currencies, we do teach people how to trade within the cryptocurrency market.
Good question. How big is the cryptocurrency market? Because I have no idea.
So the cryptocurrency market valuation to date roughly is over $1 trillion.
That's the entire market.
The entire market.
It's about $1 trillion.
It's over $1 trillion. On this, well towards $2 trillion in value.
Oh, and so, with that, you just want to ask this question. Do you know how much is traded every day?
That I do not know.
Okay.
Yeah,
As opposed to the foreign exchange market.
Correct.
So
that I don't know. There could be numbers for that. Unfortunately, I don't.
You don't know.
That. Yeah, I don't know that.
All right. So as we run out of time, we're going to come back, and we're going to, I'm going to come back and do. We'll come back with Trevor John-Charles of Level Up Consulting, and we're going to end this session today. But guys, I want you to thank you for listening. We're going to come back and please listen next week for the next show, and we'll continue this conversation. All right, with Bitcoin. We'll continue this conversation. Again, this is Leroy at Mills Realty. We're wherever you are. I mean, wherever you listen to our podcast, on Spotify, Google, wherever we are, please listen to us. Leave us a message. Tell us what you want to know, and we will bring that to you as we bring the best of all conversations to the table. So we bring the best because we here want you to know and want you to get educated in what you do. And when we bring you the folks, they are the best. So go ahead and we'll talk to you soon. Please listen to us in wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you again. It's Leroy at Mills Realty. We'll talk to you real soon.
And my name is Trevor John-Charles with Level Up Consulting LLC. And just for those who may want to look a little bit further into what we're doing, feel free to go to our website. And our website is golevelupgroup.com. That's golevelupgroup.com.
Thank you for listening to the Mills Social Talks podcast. Remember to follow this podcast on whatever platform you desire. Episodes are released weekly, and if you enjoyed participating, please follow us at The Mills Social at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. For all real estate inquiries, visit millsreal.com. Find your forever home with Mills Realty.